How could a celebrity, loved by millions, vanish in the dead of night, leaving behind a trail of whispers and a shattered window? I'm not here to give you a simple obituary. I'm here to tell you that everything you think you know about Yu Menglong's death is a lie. What if the person who found his body was not a random passerby, but someone who knew exactly where to look? And what if his studio, his very life's work, was deregistered not because of his death, but because of a secret they were trying to bury with him? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, we're going to piece together a shocking theory that the official narrative is desperately trying to hide. Welcome to the deep dive. In this video, we're not just going to report on the tragic end of Chinese actor Yu Menglong. We're going to pull back the curtain on the bizarre circumstances that followed his death and expose the web of intrigue that has left fans demanding justice. You'll get an inside look at the timeline, the key players, and the chilling questions that no one is answering. This is not just a story about a celebrity's death, it's a tale of corporate secrets, mysterious disappearances, and a shocking twist that will make you question everything you've ever been told about the entertainment industry. Get ready to have your mind blown. The news of Yu Menglong's death on September 11, 2025, sent a shockwave through the entertainment world. The initial reports were straightforward, if tragic. The 37-year-old actor, known for his ethereal beauty and roles in hits like Eternal Love, had died after a fall from a residential building. His studio quickly released a statement, citing an accidental fall, and police ruled out foul play. The world was meant to mourn, accept the official story, and move on. But for those who looked closer, for the eagle-eyed netizens and the dedicated fans who refused to let their idol's story be buried with him, something was deeply, fundamentally wrong. And the most damning evidence of all? The sudden, silent, and entirely unexplained deregistration of his studio. The story begins not on the day of his death, but months earlier. July 2025. Corporate records, now scoured and publicized by online sleuths, show that Yu Menglong's studio was quietly deregistered. This is the first mind-blowing scene in our saga. Think about it. An active, successful actors company just vanishes 2 months before his death. Why? The official word is silence. But the rumors, the whispers, the bold claims from insiders who are now terrified to speak, point to something far more sinister. Was the studio being liquidated in anticipation of a personal tragedy, or was it a preemptive strike, a way to erase a paper trail before a more permanent silence was imposed? The night of the incident, September 10, 2025, is a chaotic blur of conflicting accounts. The official narrative claims Yu Menglong was at a friend's dinner party. A normal evening, a few drinks, a tired actor retiring to a bedroom to sleep. But here's where the story gets its first truly disturbing twist. A now-deleted post from a well-known paparazzo, a piece of digital breadcrumb that has become a holy grail for online detectives, claimed that Yu Menglong's friends found his body on the ground floor not long after they themselves were preparing to leave. The timeline is impossibly tight. How could he have fallen, from a locked room, in the same time frame? The paparazzo's post also mentioned a broken window, a detail that was oddly absent from initial reports. This brings us to the second mind-blowing scene, a chilling snapshot captured and shared online by a netizen who lived in the same building. A video, shaky and grainy, allegedly shows the moments leading up to the fall. You see a figure, silhouetted against a window, a frantic struggle, and a sudden lurch. The video cuts out before the impact. But the truly shocking part? A second figure, barely visible in the shadows of the room, seems to be reaching out, not to help, but to restrain. The official story is a drunken accident. But the video, for those who have seen it before it was scrubbed from the internet, paints a picture of a desperate struggle. The day after his death, the silence from his friends was deafening. They were the last people to see him alive, yet their social media accounts went dark. They didn't offer condolences, they didn't share memories. They simply disappeared from the public eye. This is the third, and most unsettling, scene in our story. The eerie quiet from those who were supposedly his closest confidants raises more questions than it answers. Were they grieving in private, or were they silenced? Were they witnesses to a terrible accident, or accomplices to something far worse? The official statement from Yu Menglong's mother, released through his now deregistered studio, was meant to be the final word. My dear son Menglong had a fatal fall from a height after consuming alcohol and left us forever, the statement read, urging the public to stop the speculation and let the family grieve. But here's the kicker: many fans, those who knew his mother's personality and her way of speaking, found the statement's tone and language to be uncharacteristically formal and detached. It didn't sound like a grieving mother, it sounded like a legal document. It felt scripted. This brings us to the fourth mind-blowing scene, the possibility that the statement was not written by her at all, but by the very people who were now trying to control the narrative. The finality of the statement, the way it explicitly requested people to stop speculating, felt less like a plea for privacy and more like a command to cease all investigation. The plot thickens when we consider the larger context of the Chinese entertainment industry. Rumors of money laundering, blacklisting, and shady dealings have plagued the industry for years. And Yu Menglong, a star who had recently been less active in acting, was allegedly at the center of a new and explosive theory. This theory, which is the final shocking reveal we teased earlier, suggests that his death was not an accident, but a desperate act of silencing. According to online forums, unconfirmed leaks, and the brave but anonymous voices of insiders, Yu Menglong had become privy to a high-level money laundering scheme involving powerful figures in the industry. He was allegedly about to expose them. And what better way to silence a whistleblower than to make their death look like a tragic accident? The deregistration of his studio now takes on a new, chilling meaning. It wasn't a coincidence, it was a cleanup operation. A way to erase financial records, contracts, and any other evidence that might link the studio to the illegal activities. The friends who went silent. They may have been coerced, threatened, or even complicit. The supposedly accidental fall? A staged scene to cover up a far more brutal reality. The broken window, the lack of a detailed police report, the mysterious video that disappeared from the internet, all of it points to a carefully orchestrated cover-up. This is the narrative that fans are now pushing, a narrative that has been systematically suppressed on Chinese social media platforms. Hashtags demanding a new investigation are being censored, accounts spreading theories are being suspended, and the public discourse is being meticulously controlled. But the internet is a vast and unforgiving place. The original grainy video, the screenshots of the deleted paparazzo post, the corporate records of the deregistered studio, they all exist in the shadows, waiting for people brave enough to unearth them. We are left with a series of questions that hang heavy in the air, unanswered and terrifying. Why was the studio deregistered months before his death? Who was the second figure in the window, and why has no one identified them? What was the true nature of the dinner party that night, and what secrets are his friends still keeping? And most importantly, was this a tragic accident, or was it a cold-blooded murder disguised as one? The official story is tidy, clean, and convenient. But the truth, as it often is messy, complicated, and hidden in plain sight. Yu Menglong's death is not just a celebrity tragedy, it is a chilling reminder of the dark underbelly of fame and the lengths to which powerful people will go to protect their secrets. As the world moves on, we must not forget. We must continue to ask questions, to demand answers, and to ensure that the memory of Yu Menglong is not buried under a lie. This is a story that refuses to be silenced, and we are the ones who must tell it. What if the first lie in a murder case wasn't about the what, but the when? Imagine a star at the peak of his career, a beloved public figure, and a seemingly simple tragedy. But what if his company, his life's work, was already gone before he was? I'm not here to tell you a story about a celebrity's death, I'm here to show you the ghostly corporate shell that was left behind. We're going to unravel a shocking timeline that suggests Yu Menglong's death was not the end of a story, but the final act of a conspiracy that began months earlier. This is the first of many mind-blowing scenes, and it's the key to everything. We're diving deeper, past the headlines and the official statements, into the first truly baffling piece of this puzzle, the mysterious deregistration of Yu Menglong's studio. This isn't just a detail, it's the cornerstone of our entire investigation. The official narrative would have you believe that his studio, a successful and thriving business, was only shut down after his death, a natural consequence of the owner's passing. But the truth is far more sinister, and it's hidden in plain sight in corporate records that a brave few have managed to unearth. The first mind-blowing scene is a chilling corporate timeline that completely shatters the official story. Think about a successful, multi-million-dollar company, and then imagine it just ceasing to exist. The official record shows that Yu Menglong's studio, the entity that managed his career, his contracts, and his financial life, was formally deregistered in July 2025. This isn't a rumor, it's a verifiable fact on government business registration websites. His death was on September 11, 2025. Do the math. The studio was gone at least 2 months before he was. Why would a functioning, profitable company be shut down with no public announcement? Why would its star, its sole reason for existence, continue to work without a formal business entity? The silence from official sources is deafening. But the online detectives, the ones who don't have a PR team to manage, have their own theories, and they are nothing short of explosive. The second mind-blowing scene takes us into the chaotic world of Yu Menglong's friends and colleagues. After the news of his death broke, there were no public statements from his team, no condolences from his former studio. This is a crucial, telling detail. There was no team. There was no studio. It was a ghost company, a corporate shell that had been emptied out. The people who once worked for him, his managers, his publicists, his assistants, all seemingly vanished from the public eye. Were they fired? Laid off? Or were they simply part of a larger plan to disappear the entire operation? The lack of public statements from them is eerie. It's as if they were ordered to keep silent, to not speak of their former employer, to not even mention the company that no longer existed. This suggests not a tragic accident, but a premeditated corporate cleanup operation. The third mind-blowing scene is about the paper trail that was left behind, or rather, the lack thereof. When a company is deregistered, its assets are liquidated, its contracts are terminated, and its records are sealed. This is a standard procedure. But in the case of Yu Menglong's studio, the deregistration was allegedly done with an unprecedented speed and secrecy. Insiders, speaking on condition of anonymity, claim that the process was rushed, and that the liquidation of assets was done without the normal checks and balances. We're talking about millions of dollars in potential income, valuable intellectual property, and sensitive financial documents, all gone with a keystroke. What could be so urgent that it required such a swift and silent end to a business? The most compelling theory, the one that makes your blood run cold, is that the studio was not just a business, it was a front. And someone needed to erase the evidence before the scandal broke. The final, and perhaps most disturbing, scene from this chapter is the implication it has on Yu Menglong himself. If his studio was already gone, what was he doing in the last 2 months of his life? Was he aware of the deregistration? Was he fighting it? Was he trying to get out of an impossible situation? The theory that has emerged from the shadows is that he was a victim of corporate betrayal. He may have discovered something that put him at odds with powerful people, and the deregistration of his studio was their first warning shot. It was a way of stripping him of his power, his financial independence, and his corporate protection, leaving him vulnerable and exposed. His death, in this context, was not a coincidence. It was the final, brutal punctuation mark in a story that began with the quiet click of a mouse, formally deregistering his name from the world of business. The accidental fall from a building was not the beginning of the tragedy, it was the inevitable end. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The more we dig, the more this looks not like an accident, but like a perfectly orchestrated, 2-part operation. First, the corporate erasure, and then, the final silencing. Don't go anywhere, because in our next installment, we're going to dive into the night of the incident itself, and reveal the shocking eyewitness accounts and the mysterious friends who were with him that night. If this video blew your mind, please do me a favor. Like this video, share it with your friends who love a good mystery, and leave a comment with your thoughts. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next part of this mind-bending series. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think the studio deregistration was a coincidence, or was it a calculated move to set the stage for something more sinister? What do you think Yu Menglong might have discovered that would lead to such extreme measures? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.